In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Nien Nunb for the vintage collection. So similar to Weequay, who I reviewed previously, this is another action figure I unfortunately missed out on the time because he was not available in the United States. You can only get them in Canada and Europe and Asia, places like that. For some reason, these last TVC 1.0 action figures just didn't make their way to North America. Well, not North America, but the United States at least. And so unfortunately I just couldn't get a hold of him. And he's an action figure I've been eager to add in my collection for 10, 11, 12 years now at this point. Personally, I'm a big fan of Solstans. I think they're a very interesting species. I just think they look very cool. I think back to Knights of the Old Republic 2, where you have that one Solstan who changes your ID signature on Nar Shaddaa, if you know what I'm talking about. He's the blind one. And just a lot of the lines he says there. And all throughout Knights of the Old Republic 2, you come across a lot of Solstans, and I think they're just a very unique creature or alien species throughout Star Wars. And I'm a big fan of them. I would love for Hasbro to do alien packs where it's like a 4-pack of just generic Solstans, or a 4-pack of like Toydarians or something like that. I think that'd be really neat, and a lot of people would really like that. So for Nien Nunb here, he's very famous in Return of the Jedi. He's obviously Lando's co-pilot in Millennium Falcon. Here he is with Lando here, or General Lando Calrissian. That both of them are the re-releases of them. Similar to Weequay, Nien Nunb has been out for probably about a year now at this point, and I was hoping to find a sale on him. Unfortunately, he never really seemed to go on sale, and if he did, it was only like $1 or $2 off. I was hoping he would go dirt cheap, where it would be like $8 or $9 for him. But I got tired of waiting at this point, and from my understanding, production for Nien Nunb and Weequay has stopped at this point. Not 100% sure, but usually once I hear that, I'll just go ahead and jump on it, because I don't want to take that risk and then a couple weeks later the price skyrockets on it. And these are characters that I really wanted in my collection for over a decade now at this point, and I'm finally happy to have them. In fact, just having Nien Nunb here, I really want to get a Millennium Falcon again. But that's a whole nother story for another time. Today we'll just focus on this guy. See how he looks with Lando here. What more can I say about Nien Nunb? We'll just go ahead and look at his package. Nice image of the character from the movie. Has a very iconic voice. Very interesting language. And he is VC 106, while Weequay was 107. Other action figures here. I have every single one of these reviewed on the channel now. Cad Bane will be coming up. I actually just got him at the same time as Nien Nunb. I did manage to get him on sale, so expect a video for him very soon. Then this Boba Fett I do not have, and I don't know if I will get. It's not one that I'm too particular about having. Other than those two, every single one of these other action figures are reviewed on the channel, if you want to check those out. So that's the card here. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the action figure. One thing I will note, so one thing that a lot of people are a little bit upset about is Nien Nunb allegedly is about the same height as your average human in Star Wars, or in the Return of the Jedi, that is. And as you can see here, he's much shorter than Lando. However, later on in the EU lore, it was determined that Solstans are actually a very short alien. So I think Hasbro sourced their material more from the EU in this case than they did from Return of the Jedi, the actual movie. Because if you do see some stills or some of the scenes of him in the background, where he's standing notably in the briefing room on Home 1, he stands about the same height as everyone else. That's probably just a costume thing that they did at the time. I'm sure back in 1983 they weren't thinking about EU lore and Solstans and thinking, oh, these are actually going to be a short alien species. Personally, I understand a lot of people that want it as accurate to the movie as possible, but I prefer him to be shorter because it is accurate to the expanding universe, which I'm a big fan of, and it just gives a little bit of variety in the collection instead of having everyone about the same height. Solstons are noted to be short, so I'm glad that Hasbro did it in this case. So I think this guy has a lot of very nice detailing in him. Unfortunately, the paint, it's not too bad after I had it out of the package, but his eyes there, it is missing some paint along the edges there, as you can see on his top left of his left eye there. But it's not too bad or too noticeable. I'll just treat it like he's blinking or something like that. That's a very nice head sculpt. There's a lot of fine lines in it. Almost looks like a realistic face even. I'm not really sure how different this is from the original action figure. As far as I know, there's really not any significant differences at all. I'm sure there's some slight paint variants. Even the photoreal, I don't even know if this really is photoreal. It's very hard to tell. So he has his ears there. One thing that's noted in the second Knights of the Old Republic game is that Solstons are known for having sharp hearing. So he does have this brown pilot's cap on. It's pretty good. As for the rest of his outfit, it's pretty straightforward. He has the black vest here, which does have some pouches on it, or some pockets. A little bit of a design in the back there. And the rest of his jumpsuit is red, and then he has these bell-bottom pants, basically. And he does have these straps around them, which I guess keep his pants into place and take a lot of the slack out of it, I guess. Does have the black belt here, the silver belt buckle, and he does have a holster for his pistol, fortunately. And then black gloves here, which look like his hands look like they are reused from an action figure before. I'm not sure if there is any reused parts on this, but I wouldn't be surprised. So in terms of his articulation, he does have a ball joint at the head, hinge shoulders and elbows, swivel wrists, swivel waist, and then swivel hips, and then hinge knees and hinged ankles. I think he has hinged ankles. Yeah. It's very tight though. In terms of his weapons and accessories, he does have some unique weapons about him. He has this large rifle, which does have a scope on it. Interesting choice to include this with him. Seems like something very heavy caliber. I don't think we actually see Nien Nunb with any weapons in the film at all. It's nice that they included that. And he does have this little pistol here, which almost looks like a stun gun, actually. One thing I will note, well, his pistol does fit in the holster well. But his hands, there's not really a whole lot of depth for his grip there, so even though he is holding his rifle and it will stay into place, just the slightest moves of it will be enough to take it out of his hand, so he doesn't really have that good of a grip. It's just something to note. Being a little bit of a shorter species, I guess they figured his hands would be that much smaller too, and then he doesn't have a lot of finger grip on him. And here's the pilot and co-pilot side by side. But that's pretty much all I can tell you about Nien Nunb here. So would I recommend him for your collection? I totally would. Of course, I'm a huge fan of Soulston, so of course I would recommend a Soulston to you. If you're a big fan of Aliens or Return of the Jedi, or if you want some characters that's specific to the Millennium Falcon, obviously this is a character for you. But even if you just want some background characters for like a Cantina display or a Jabba's Palace display even, I think he would fit along with that. A Home 1 display, some people do make that. He is an essential character. To me, this is a perfect action figure. I really like everything about him, and I would hope that Hasbro would return to this tooling for the Soulstons eventually and make a 4-pack of just generic Soulstons or some different characters. They can make some of the ones from Knights of the Old Republic too, even. Don't know if Hasbro will go that far, but I would certainly welcome it. But overall, very happy to finally add this to my collection after 12 years now at this point. It's one I've always been eyeing, but it was just way too expensive on the aftermarket until the last year or so. And it's nice to finally close that chapter and have him in the collection. I will proudly display him. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support, and check out some of the links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.